What's going on out there, fam? Happy Friday to everybody out there. Hope all is well. I'm your brother, Mr. Real Talk, and this is your go-to YouTube channel for brotherhood, sisterhood, and an attempt at righteousness. What's going on, Hebrews? Hope all is well. I'm just sitting back thinking. Just ate me a little banana on my little couple of minutes break that I get, if you want to call that a break. The world has already changed so much and is steadily changing in the physical realm and in the spiritual realm. Last weekend, we had again a 7-planet alignment. Planets like Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, things like that. Those planets lined up last Saturday night, and they gave a salute to the Most High God. It was either last Friday night or Saturday night. 7 planets. See, the Most High God is the inventor of math. He's the greatest teacher. He's the greatest instructor. He's the greatest mathematician. It required math to build the earth, the universe, all the other planets. That required math, believe it or not. The Most High is constantly showing all of us signs and wonders, but some of us, for different reasons, we're not able to see it. These last couple of days have been crazy. Yesterday evening was crazy for me. Right? Y'all know I'm in the DMV, right? DC, Maryland, Virginia area, right? The relationship between so-called black people and so-called white people, it ain't good at all. Okay? But what I'm hearing from different people and what I'm seeing from different people and observing is that the relationship between so-called black people and so-called white people in different parts of America, different state, from state to state, city to city, apparently can be a little different. This is all news to me and a shock to me, but this is what I'm discovering by listening, watching, paying attention to other states and cities. In the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, it's a horrible relationship. And I'm thinking that, this is just my personal thoughts, that the things that so-called black people and so-called white people have been through with, as far as dealing with each other, it's been a little bit different from state to state and country to country. We know the general conception, or we know the general rule of thumb is that it ain't a good relationship, and that's true. Everybody knows that. But in certain states and certain cities, I see there are some spots where the relationship is, I guess, I can describe it as decent, because I don't live in one of those areas like that. In the area where I'm from, it's a horrible relationship. They don't like us. We don't like them for obvious reasons. But things are changing so much, and it's spiritual. You can find yourself in situations that you never would believe. Like yesterday evening, I'm in the grocery store. So-called white lady, right? This is a 72-year-old white lady. Now, anybody who knows me for real, they already know how I feel about who many people call the so-called white man. He's not white. He's the Edomites, okay? Now, the Edomites, for the most part, are the so-called white man, but not all so-called white people are Edomites. And that's a topic for another video. Just like, for the most part, the Israelites, we know the Israelites are the black people, so-called black people, because we're not black. But not all so-called black people are Israelites. Some of us can understand that, but we can't understand that not all white people are Edomites. And that's because this world that we live in is wicked as hell. Try to lump everybody in, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, whatever, and just to try to put you into a one-size-fits-all. And that's just not the case, Hebrew. I'm in there in the grocery store, Bottom line, because I got to get back to slavery, right? I'm in the grocery store holding a 35, 40-minute conversation with a so-called white woman who's 72 years old. And you guys ought to have, I wish you could have been in the store with me. Because anybody who knows me, for real, they know I'm all about the Israelites. And no, I don't like the other nations for the most part. You got exceptions to every rule, but we ain't talking about the exception. We talking about generally speaking. Excuse me. So there would be no general reason that I would be in a grocery store talking to a total stranger, a so-called white woman at that, 72-year-old. What could we possibly have in common to talk about? But see, here's the thing. You got to know how to read people's spirit and check people's spirit. Not everybody is who they appear to be. This lady was one of the nicest, kindest, coolest, sweetest old ladies I ever known. And as I'm talking to her, she tells me, I can tell you're a people person. You're a kind person. And I tell her, I say, you know what? That is a correct observation by you. I said, but unfortunately, because this world is so wicked, we got to talking about how evil this world is and how wicked it is. And I was telling her, because this world is so evil, you're right. I am a people person. I do like to talk, but I'm not able to live in that space in this world because it's just too dangerous for somebody like me. When I say somebody like me, I mean a nigga, a black person. We can't be out here being friendly and inviting because it's too dangerous out here. Right? And we was talking about how evil the world is, and I was saying to her how, it's a lot of monsters out here in this world, in these communities, in these states, all over. And I remember that lady said, I don't know any monsters. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, I wish that I could say the same, man, but I know lots of monsters. And that ain't no disrespect to none of the brothers, but I know a lot of monsters. And me and this so-called white lady, 72-year-old white lady, went down the rabbit hole. I ain't got time because I got to go now, telling y'all all the stuff we talked about, but I took her there. Took her back to the Old Testament and told her that I wasn't black. I showed her, because I had on my little face mask, right? I said, see, this is black. I said, I don't look like this. She said, no, you're brown. I said, I know. I said, but they call me black, just like they call you white. You're not white. I said, there's no such thing as a white person. She looked at me, and then I started leading her. We started going down the rabbit hole. I told her that it's all about the Old Testament. She said, I never read the Old Testament before. And I started telling her why she had never read it, and that it's because of the church. And mind you, we're having this conversation for about 30, 40 minutes in the middle of a grocery aisle. We had black people walking up and down the grocery aisle, white people, others, and whatever. They were looking at me like, nigga, why are you talking to that old white lady? You shut up, Negro. And white people was in there looking at her like, how dare you speak to that nigger? He's a thug. He's probably trying to carjack that wonderful white woman. You could feel the hatred in the grocery aisle from black people and white people and others. That me and this 72-year-old white lady, this lady looked like she belonged in the house baking apple pie. And they looking at me like, who's this big black thug and why is he harassing that wonderful white woman? Bottom line is, you never know who you're dealing with out here. Learn to read people's spirit, Hebrew. I'm out. See you this evening on the live. Peace.